had been in a downward spiral over the last few weeks of 2024. Christmas was fast approaching, and sadly, it wasn't my favourite time of year. I was badly in need of a circuit breaker to flip my focus from the negative in my life to the positive. Actually, what I really needed was a complete mindset reset to expand my vision of what I was capable of achieving and to increase my level of confidence in myself as a worthy person. Deep down, I know that there's much more energy for adventuring and creativity inside me, but I've been paralysed for years with post-traumatic stress disorder, which I had developed after losing my house in a bushfire and the consequent disintegration of my relationships with my family and friends. Then, in a heady moment of enthusiasm, I decided to set myself a massive goal for 2025, a goal that involved taking on not just one New Year's resolution, but one for every week of the year, which amounts to a whopping 52 commitments. I'm calling this my Mindset Reset Challenge, so keep watching as I reveal my list of all the activities I want to try, skills I want to learn, places I want to visit, and adventures I want to experience. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Living an Unlived Life, where my goal is to find contentment by honouring my dreams, where I'm actively transforming regret and disappointment into a life of satisfaction in my later years. But before I talk about my list, I need to explain the two rules that I set for myself in considering possible activities. The first rule was that the activity had to be something that I could do as a single, either on my own or by joining a group lesson. The second rule was that the activity had to be something significant, which would force me to either learn a new skill, increase my fitness, or take me to an exciting place. To be honest, I've been thinking for a long time about all of the different things I'd like to do, so it was easy to get started, and I quickly jotted down about 30 activities. These varied from activities that are personal and will be relatively straightforward, such as having a professional makeup session, to activities that will be physically challenging, such as hiking the Main Range Trail in Kosciuszko National Park and riding my little trail bike up a very steep mountain to a lookout in a nearby forest. Then there will be some activities that will be quite expensive, such as overseas travel to an exotic destination. To make my list a little bit more manageable, I figured that I needed to group the various items into a number of logical categories, and because it's so exciting to think about, I started with overseas travel possibilities. I've already been overseas a few times, though mostly to the UK, Europe and America, but there's still lots more places that I want to see, particularly Costa Rica, Bora Bora, Hawaii, the Caribbean on a cruise, and Africa on a safari. However, I can't possibly fit all these trips into the next 12 months, nor would I want to. One of the best things about international travel is booking well in advance, leaving many happy weeks of anticipation. So I'm going to choose just one of these places to go to this year. Next, I took a look at travel in my home country, Australia. I currently own 3 motorbikes, and while I've ridden close to 100,000 kilometres over the last 5 years, I really haven't gone anywhere much for the last 2 years, other than on day trips. 2 years ago, I rode my Harley-Davidson Sport Glide from my hometown of Canberra to Perth in Western Australia and back via northern New South Wales. I've also ridden to Queensland 3 times and circumnavigated Tasmania twice, but the state I haven't seen much of is Victoria, particularly the spectacular coast along the Great Ocean Road and the high country along the Great Alpine Road, which is equally stunning. So I'll add these 2 places to my list as a week-long trip. Then, closer to home, ever since learning to ride my dirt bike in the Brindabella Mountains, which lie to the west of the city, I've wanted to ride up Mount Kooree. Well, it's not the highest mountain in the area, it's the highest mountain that you can ride a motorbike up, plus the road is said to be quite challenging, especially the hairpin bends, which are covered in loose rock, so that's definitely going on my list. Then there's camping. When I got my first motorcycle, I quickly set myself up to go motorbike camping, but the last time I did that was over 2 years ago, so I'll add that to the list too, and I'll probably take my dual-purpose BMW as I can ride it on-road or off-road. And while I'm considering camping, I should mention that I recently bought a Subaru, which is, of course, all-wheel drive, so I'm keen to go car camping as well. While I've seen a lot of Australia, there's still a few places that I'm keen to see. One of them is the weird landscape that is the World Heritage listed Mungo National Park, which is about 800 kilometres from where I live in southwest New South Wales, so I'll list that for car camping. Next, I looked at art and craft hobbies. My learning style is strongly visual, and as well as making a number of patchwork quilts over the years, for a long while I painted watercolour with a local art group. But I've always wanted to try ceramics and making stained glass ornaments, so they'll go on my list, as well as taking a class in making glass beads, trying my hand at felt making, constructing mosaics, and upcycling furniture with chalk paint. To get ideas for the remaining 20 activities, I checked out suggestions on Pinterest for what to do when you are bored. There were, of course, hundreds of possibilities, but many of the activities were either insubstantial or things I'd done before, so I spent some time on Facebook and YouTube searching for challenges that inspired me, and gradually my list grew to a sufficient number for me to be sure that my Mindset Reset goal for 2025 would be possible. So here is my list. I have 51 items from which I'll choose my weekly challenges, plus one from the selection of 6 international trips that I've listed at the end. Though, just so you know, I won't be carrying out each activity in the order that they are presented here. The timing of some of these activities depends on season, such as cross-country skiing in winter and swimming Lake Burley-Griffin in summer. Plus, it's not much fun riding a motorbike in southern Australia in the winter, whereas it will be too hot to head out west to Mungo National Park in the heat of summer, and I'll need to avoid school holidays for the activities that involve travel. Also, there'll be an overlap of the activities that involve a commitment over a period of time, such as going to classes that are held once a week over a period of weeks, such as acting, ceramics, and dancing classes. Plus, in terms of planning, many of these activities will take a lead time of at least a few weeks to research and organise, plus some will require me to put in an extended period of time to increase my level of fitness. For example, while I'm fit for cycling and swimming, I'm not at all fit enough to hike the 20-kilometre loop from Charlotte's Pass to Mount Kosciuszko. But basically, I'll be trying something new and posting a video about it each week for the whole of 2025. Finally, in addition to taking on these challenges, there's one other important matter that I need to keep in mind. This is the fact that construction of my custom-designed house at the coast will be finished at some stage in the middle of the year, so I will need to factor in a couple of weeks for moving out of my rental and getting established in the new house. Looking at my list of 52 challenges, suddenly a year seems to be a very short period of time, so my next task will be to calculate lead times for each activity and create a schedule for the first few months of the year. Being the summer holidays in Australia, classes won't start until February, so I'll fill January with activities that are not time-dependent and which are suitable for doing in the heat of summer. In my next video, I take on my first Mindset Reset challenge for 2025, drawing with chalk on a pavement, which was something I hadn't done since playing hopscotch as a child 60 years ago. I thought it would be a simple way of getting started in my challenge series, but it turned out to be way more complicated than that. For more information about living your own unlived life, if you go to my website, you can download a copy of my free book, Living Your Unlived Life, Finding Contentment by Honouring Your Dreams. And if it's your thing, you could like this video and subscribe to my channel.